Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm Padmachana Kandi, Director of Strategy and Programs at Future World Alliance, and I'm thrilled to have you here for another powerful session in our AI Launchpad for Educators series. At Future World Alliance, our mission is to empower educators and learners globally to explore AI, creativity, and emerging technologies in ways that truly enhance teaching and learning. This session is part of our ongoing AI Launchpad for Educators journey, where teachers get hands-on experience with practical AI tools, build classroom-ready projects, and learn new ways to spark engagement and innovation in their school. Today, we are honored to be joined by Wezi Thindwa, Education Evangelist at Adobe. Wezi works closely with educators around the world to help them amplify students' voice, build creative confidence, and bring storytelling to life using Adobe Express, Firefly, and other Adobe tools. In today's session, AI meets creativity, empowering student voice with Adobe Express. Wezi will be showing us how AI-powered creativity can help students communicate, design, reflect, and express themselves in meaningful and powerful ways. Thank you all again for being here. Let's dive in. Wezi, over to you.
Hi, everybody. It's so great to join you. Good morning, good afternoon, good night from wherever it is that you join us. And we're so excited to have you with us today to talk about AI meeting creativity and empowering student voice using Adobe Express. Padma, thank you so much for having me. If you are ready to go, I am too, and excited to get right on into it. So, those of you that are able to interact with us, we would love to know where it is that you are joining us from. And also, just so that you are aware of who is speaking to you today, my name is Wezi Thindwa, as Padma said. I serve on the Adobe K-12 Education Community and Evangelism team. I have a deep passion for creativity and for student voice. My career in education started as a third grade teacher, and I also served in the Office for Multilingual Learners, for instructional technology, for culturally responsive instruction. So I like to say that I have a lot of passion around holistically in education. And so I would like to share some of that with you all today, representing Adobe Express, our K-12 program that is free for all educators and students to really help level up and deepen students' creative expression in day-to-day instruction. And so for our time together, we want to be kind of hands-on demo style. I'd love to engage with you all as well. So please feel free to use the chat. And I'm going to walk you through some of the tools that we have that can really support student engagement in the classroom. But first and foremost, we want to talk about why it matters. Why does amplifying student voice matter to us in this digital space, and revisit our shared mission to inspire and empower the next generation of lifelong creators. Also, we'll get deep into our tools and also see ways that you can create for impact and that students can create for impact, and provide you with some resources along the way. So that is our general overview of how we'll spend our time together. And what I would love to know is, in one word, what does student voice mean to you? If you could let us know in the chat, what does student voice mean to you? And I'll tell you what student voice means to me as we see what responses we get. But student voice is an absolutely imperative way to get students to have a deep sense of connection with the learning experiences in front of them. Student voice is the capacity and the ability and the skills for students to share who they are and how they're learning, how they're thinking, and how it is that they're making meaning with the world around them. And so mine was way more than one word, but you could do the same. I will allow some rules to be broken here as I do the same. So please feel free to use that chat and let us know, what does student voice mean to you? And I see we've got agency in the chat. Hello, Northern Virginia. Hello, Mr. Dance. It's class Manassas, Virginia. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining from India. Is it Shirisha from India? Thank you so much. We've got Indianapolis, Indiana, representing Adobe Creative Educator Leaders, representing. So glad to have you here. And please continue using the chat. You know how much I love to chit chat with you all, literally and figuratively. So let's continue to do that. But I love this word agency that was shared in the chat from one of our LinkedIn users here. And also that student voice means the choices they are allowed to make in the classroom learning. Absolutely, Shirisha. Thank you so much for sharing that. Student voice means the choices they are allowed to make in classroom learning. I'm repeating that so that it can sink in, but that's also connected to that agency, right? Our students are driving the learning experiences and we're providing them the platform to do that. Thank you for joining us from Cambodia. Yes, Cambodia is represented. Jody, purpose. What a word. Student voice means purpose. There is a reason and a passion behind what it is that our students are learning and connecting to. Absolutely amazing. Thank you all for dropping your gems in the chat. Please continue to do so. So, let's talk about some statistics here, because I want us to just kind of set the purpose around the future of AI in classroom and just framing things around what do we know? Do we know exactly how AI is reshaping education today? We do. We're in those discussions. We are networking. We're in events like this. We're teaching. A lot of you are just boots on the ground and you have an ear for exactly what's happening. And here are some of the statistics that are coming out as a result of that connection. AI is really unlocking creativity and confidence in the classroom, even among the uncertainty that we have as far as the pace and the direction. Students are using AI to enhance assignments, think critically, visualize complex ideas, and they're making learning deeper and more engaging. And teachers say that these creative tools are not only sparking imagination, but they're also building essential skills for career and future readiness. And in fact, 92% of educators believe AI-driven creativity will improve students' job prospects. The more you know, right? And beyond academics, generative AI boosts confidence for students, removes design barriers, and helps every learner express their idea with pride. And I think we're still at the time where we're having some more expansive thinking about what AI is. Sometimes our mind goes directly to AI, just an AI generated image. And there are also other extensive ways in which AI is supporting student confidence and meeting those needs for readiness, including well-being. And generative AI, in removing those design barriers, educators are seeing projects empowering students in different ways. They're building resiliency, and also they're able to see themselves in maybe fields and spaces they might not have before. And educators said this technology improves student creative confidence, which helps remove barriers for students who want to make something spectacular, something that looks professional, but they don't yet have the advanced design skills to do so. Now we have a platform for that. And in speaking about safe and trusted AI for schools, how does this matter for us in the school? So for educators, we know safety and privacy are essential. And Adobe designs all generative AI with schools in mind. There are built-in guardrails that block unsafe prompts and explain why a generation can't be created, for example, helping guide students towards that appropriate use. And Adobe also will not use student or teacher projects to train AI models. That's important to note. Their work remains private and protected. And districts stay in control. So districts do have the option for administrators to turn generative AI features on or off in Adobe Express for Education. And then as we continue just thinking about the authenticity and safety, please note that nearly half of all teachers say we know this is out of the mouths of the classrooms, and that you all need safe, trusted, classroom appropriate tools, and Adobe is committed to meeting that need. And so our content authenticity technology brings powerful benefits to education, giving students digital nutrition labels called content credentials that can help them spot fake images and ask questions like, where did this come from? The simplicity in that Adobe is leading the way with that content authenticity initiative to reinforce those academic values like citation and integrity and keeping learning safe, ethical, and honest. So I would love to just take a moment of reflection before just going into a little bit about a theme that can really root us in why we're doing what we're doing in supporting and empowering learners. And that is, what's a moment when a student surprised you with this creativity? And I think we probably all have one that comes to mind. It might not be a student that you are currently teaching. It might not be a student that you have worked with. It might be somebody who you live with. It might be a child. It might be a niece. It might be a nephew. But what's a moment when a student surprised you with their creativity? And this is just for you to hold on to. I always think it's powerful to just have a moment where you can connect to a personal experience, something profound, because they remind us why we're here. These are the stories that fuel our own creativity and our own impact. So if you would like to share in the chat, we would love to read it. You certainly don't have to. But that is something to definitely hold on to as a reminder of why we do what we do. So, why now? Why this moment? Why does student voice matter now as opposed to like when? And we know that it's always mattered, and right now it matters in a completely new way. We are ever evolving in this world of AI, and this world of AI is also changing what literacy is looking like. It's extending what literacy is looking like, where students are communicating through visuals, through video, images, through sound, through design, as much as they do in text. And those barriers around visual communication are becoming more and more fluid, where more students have access to communicate in that way, where identity, where representation, where belonging are deeply tied to how students see themselves and how they want to be seen. And so our students are navigating a digital world where where the world around them is asking them to consume a lot of information and also create information in order to truly engage with it. So we want our students to feel that sense of self in a way that connects them with the world around them, where they can feel confident to contribute perspectives, ideas, and lived experiences, whether it's in the school setting or beyond. But that's what shapes our knowledge and our learning circles. And so when we elevate student voice, we are teaching creativity, because we're teaching students, how can I express myself in a way that's meaningful to me? We're also teaching creative problem solving when we are teaching creativity. And why that's important is, as we know, the world is increasingly complex, and it requires creative problem solvers in this next generation in order to really tackle the big questions of today's world. And that's where creativity is a powerful form of agency. So it looks like we might have some more in the chat. A middle school student created a short film to show what they learned about figurative language. Amazing. I'm sure that if you were the teacher or the receiving end, that I'm sure that just blew you away. But the fact that a student was thinking figurative language, how can I represent this, and decided to do it in a short film. There was a time where that would only be accessible to a very, very, very small number of students. And what we're doing in these digital creativity tools is that we're trying to say more students can have access to the tools that unlocks what's already in here. What they have to be successful as far as the content and the knowledge and the creativity is already in here. We're giving them the tools and the platforms. An 8th grade student, thank you for our LinkedIn user, is it Gaja Lakshmi? An 8th grade student uses AI to complete advanced levels in his online games. Look at that. That is creative problem solving right there, getting to the next level. Absolutely love reading your responses and reflections in the chat. Please keep them coming. Thank you to Gaja Lakshmi from Cambodia for sharing that. So this is the key of why now. We know that our students are already in a world of consumption and contribution. We are supporting what it is that they are able to do that's really going to impact the world around them positively. And so we want to view creativity as access and not a ability. And I think that has long been a long-standing hamstring on a lot of the ways that students can contribute is because of this tie to, do you have the ability to do this in this way? And if you had experiences like me as a learner growing up, being creative was very exclusive in school. We got to be creative in art classes, and if maybe you were an early finisher on a project, it wasn't something that we associated with day-to-day construction, knowledge construction in language arts, in mathematics, in science, in the core subjects, in the non-core subjects. So we're extending that worldview because creative thinking is absolutely critical in any field in which you find yourself. And here's what's at the heart of it: creativity isn't just about who can draw or who can write the perfect poetic prose or paragraph. It's about who feels empowered to express their thinking and connect it in ways that maybe others haven't seen yet, or connect it in ways that are authentic to themselves. And so tools like Adobe Express are leveling the playing field and removing that fear of the blank page. They give students scaffold and guided activities, and we've got templates, so all that I'm going to show you, and AI to support that. And we want students to know that they have something to say and they can say it in their own way, just like your student who you decided, I can create a short film to demonstrate my understanding of figurative language. I can use AI to complete advanced levels in this game. I can use AI to create art that I might not have been able to by hand. Brad, I see you in the chat for putting that there. And so here are some real classroom, some student anecdotes who work in our Adobe Creative Educator Student Ambassador Program. Isaiah said, I'm enjoying that it helps me to get creative and it helps me with my mind to get more and do more things like AI and all that stuff. It is special because it's pretty fun and it helps me also. Can we imagine that what is helping us to think critically is also fun? What a trio. Yaslin says creativity means like what our mind can think of and how to make it in real life, making meaning for yourself. How powerful is that? So we want to leverage the technology and the tools that we have because we're breaking that barrier of, is this an ability-based thing? Absolutely not. It's about access, and we're providing that access. And so we also, this is a real life anecdote from one of our Adobe Creative Educator innovators who also leads a group of student ambassadors for Adobe K-12 programming. And she says, we're focusing a lot on layout and composition, thinking about arranging their text and images in a visually pleasing way and using templates to understand more structure and design flows. Listen to the mechanics of what she's teaching. Leadership skills are more focused on ownership of a task and then collaborating with others and presenting their work. Thinking about communication skills and sharing feedback with peers in a singular and a multi-day project and day-to-day instruction. In speaking with Catherine, she's expressing to me such a multidimensional approach to teaching and learning, where we've got this curriculum guide, we're working on this project. Here is what's the point of focus. Also, we're building students' leadership and communication skills as they're doing that. And so there's just a lot that students can yield out of the access to the technology and the tools that allow them to use their voice to demonstrate that creative thinking and how they're making meaning from themselves. And as Yaslin said, what's in here? Making what's in here and taking it and making it mean something really special or show for it. So let's explore. Let's take a look at what we've got in Adobe Express. We want to just just orient you to the homepage within Adobe Express, something magical called the guided activities. Whether you are a beginner or you're more advanced in your use of Adobe Express, there's something for everybody in here. You don't have to be an expert in the tool in order to get your students started. That's important to know, because I know as educators, we want to know all the ins and outs, and we put this pressure on ourselves. I have to know it before I teach it all. And there's so much beauty in being a learner alongside your students, especially in this day and age of really fast paced technology. And so what we're trying to do is to make that learning more simplified, and the teaching and learning experience more efficient, but also just as impactful for you. So let's take a look and explore at some of our resources today. Here is a link for you. This link takes you to a resource page. It's adobe.ly/express dash capital A, capital I. Everything else is lowercase. If you want to take a quick picture of that link, that is your resource page. So I'm going to take us to that resource page so that you all can see what's available to you for empowering student voice. So we have a beautiful guide here. Shout out to our content team under the leadership of Rebecca Hare, who make fantastic instructional learning resources for our educators and students. And so if you scroll down, you've got some just some background and some context for you. And there's an activity that we're going to do together here called it's a day in life in your a walk in your shoes. So we're actually going to use AI to design our own sneaker. So I'm going to click where it says learn and iterate with generative AI, and that's going to take me into Adobe Express editor. Okay. So one more time, we've got this was the link here, adobe.ly/express dash capital A, capital I. That took us to this resource page that also has the link right there for you. And then there's something special called a guided activity that we're going to use today. If you're able to follow along, please log into Adobe Express using your portal, your district applications portal, and that can take you into Adobe Express. It's also express.adobe.com. You want to make sure you're logged in to Adobe Express for Education. That is where you teachers and students, educators, students, you all have free access to our K-12 Adobe Express program that is designed specifically for educators and students. Okay, so if you're not sure if you have access to it, you can go to edu.adobe.com, and that's going to give you all of the information to get set up. So that is edu.adobe.com. I'm just going to drop that link in the chat for you. One of our users is saying how much they love the guided activities. We appreciate that. And let's talk about those guided activities. Oh, it looks like I can't quite drop the link, but Padma, I'm going to drop the link in the chat for you if you want to share that. That is edu.adobe.com. That is an all-encompassing resource page, and I will talk a little bit more about that at the end as well. But if you want to know more about getting started with Adobe Express, if you haven't already, you can certainly go there. And you can see exactly what's available and what's on offer with regard to Adobe Express. Okay, so I'm going to go to the home page just for a moment because I want to show you how you can get to these guided activities once you are in Adobe Express. So from the home page, what you will see is a beautiful arrangement of colorful tiles that allow you to quick start a project. And so these tiles will take you to creating something brand new, you and your students. And the first tile you see is our design challenge for the month as well. Also of note, you have teachers, you have 3 tabs up here. You've got the create tab, you've got the teach tab, and you've got the edit tab. So you've got your tiles and your projects that have been curated according to these 3 areas where you want to create a project, take a look at some teaching and learning resources, or you can see what productivity features there are on offer as well within Adobe Express. It's not just about designing big, beautiful, creative projects, but you can actually use Adobe Express as a productivity tool. I will tell you something that I use quite often is removing background, just simply running an image in there and taking the background off. I also caption my videos. I like to use the video caption option. There is more though. If you go to the left side, and I'm going to zoom in here so that you all can see a little bit closer, but on the far left side of your screen, the Adobe Express icon, it's that rainbow A on the top left side. And right underneath it, there is a plus sign. And if you click on the plus sign, there are some more options for what you can do in Adobe Express. I'm actually going to click on quick actions here, and I'll tell you a very popular feature that we have in the quick actions is to generate a QR code. And we know that there are a lot of places that you can go to generate a QR code, but if you already are logged into Adobe Express, just do it in here. It's not going to give you any pop-ups or redirects. You just click that generate QR code, pop in the URL link, and you can use to and you can grab a new QR code for yourself. Something else, I'll show you one more thing that is very, very, very popular as far as Express use as a productivity tool is that you have PDF editing features in here. You can actually upload a PDF or drag and drop a PDF within Adobe Express, and you have access to the editor for that. So let's go back to why we are here and empowering student voice. I just wanted to give you a quick little overview of what's in Express. But from that home page, when we go to create, there is something called guided activities. And we can get there from this button on the left side that says activities. So I'm going to click activities. And you see the top one, it says guided activities with student instructions. And if I hover over them, there's an arrow here that takes me through all these guided activities. There are a lot of ways that you can get to guided activities. This is one of them. And in activities, this is where you can also filter to search according to your tier and your grade level, okay? So the guided activity that we are going to be working on today is this one, create your dream product with generative AI. So I'm actually just going to click on that. And that has opened up into what's called the all-in-one editor. Okay, this whole space here is the all-in-one editor. We call it that because you can edit all the things in this one space. Dynamic projects, static projects, you are able to edit them right within here. So I just want to do a quick check, and let me do a quick check-in with our wonderful host, Padma, and also our participants here. Give me a yes in the chat if you are following along today. That will just inform some of my pacing. And also, if you're able to see my screen okay, let's just do a little tech check. Are you able to see my screen okay? And you can also say, yes, I can see your screen, or just give me a yeah in the chat. Okay, I just want to make sure that we are fully able to do what it is that we came to do, whether it's to watch along or it's to play along with me. Okay, I am seeing the yes. Thank you so much, everybody. All right, so now we're in the editor for creating your dream product with generative AI. Now, you see here on the right side, there is a section that says learn. Point it out. Give yourself a thumbs up that you see that. So this learn section actually is a tutorial, and that's what makes it a guided activity, is because it has a built-in tutorial that shows you how to use and how to make this project your own. So right at the top of that learn panel, if I click out of it and I click this light bulb, I can turn it on and off, okay? So it gives you like your targets. This is what we'll cover in this project. I'm going to select get started. And now look, I have a video I can play as to give me some background information. So I can play it. I can pop out the video. I can move it around the screen if I want to, or I can even play the video full screen. And I'm going to just hit.
Welcome. In this project, you'll learn how to use generative AI in Adobe Express to design your own custom product, like a shoe, skateboard, or anything you can dream up, and turn it into a finished ad. The goal? To help you build confidence using generative AI tools while making something that's 100% your own. Here's how it works. You'll move through this project one step at a time, using tools like
And I'm just going to pause it right there because I am going to play the rest of the video for you. It's less than a minute. It's nice and quick. But just a reminder, this is the guided experience of the guided activity that gives you a background of what it is that you're creating, okay?
Generate image, add and remove object, text effects, and more. On each page, you'll find a short video on the right side panel, just like this one, to help guide you. The template starts with a shoe design as an example, but you can swap in your own idea at any time. Think of generative AI like your creative assistant. It helps you bring your ideas to life based on the directions you give it. The clearer your prompt, the cooler the results. So get ready to experiment and build something awesome. When you're ready, head over to page 2 to get started.
Okay, awesome. So just know you have that available. I could also put the captions. Sorry, I forgot to put the captions on, but captions are available for those videos. And then if you scroll down, it gives you step-by-step instructions with images. So there are different modalities to receive the learning panel information there. I did have somebody say to me one time, you know what, the guided activities have been so helpful for me because I had to go out on unexpected leave. And so that's what I provided to my substitute, and the substitute teacher was able to just without background in using Adobe Express, they were able to get in there and help the students be self-paced with this learning, because everything they needed was broken down with these wonderful instructions in the guided part. So I'm actually going to click the X so that we have the full screen here for the generative AI experience in designing our dream product. Now, the reason why I chose this particular guided activity is because we're talking about amplifying student voice, and we're using AI as well. So both this is a great activity that really combines those things. So we're having opportunities for students, creative expression, but also what is it that they're trying to say? And this is a great way for students to practice those skills in communicating design ideas and communicating global perspectives, in communicating their learning and knowledge, and in developing their digital literacy as well. So the first page, as you can see, it's a multi-page project in here. So you see all of the pages that comprise the projects that live right at the bottom of the screen here. So I am on the first page, and it gives you these nice step-by-step instructions. So let me just give you a quick orientation to this all-in-one editor. Now, this space here, I like to let people know, especially if you're in it for the first time. Brad, you've heard me say this quite a few times. I know you're in the chat, but think of everything that's sitting here as an object, and that means if it's clickable, it's editable. It's an object that you can click on, and that will get you started in editing that particular thing. So it's almost like you're working through a deconstructed project, or like a little machine, and then you are working on all of the different pieces to make them your own. So when I hover my cursor around the project space, I will see all of those blue bounding boxes appear, and then I can just pick what I wish to edit. So let's take a quick look at what's around my space here in this all-in-one editor. So let's say I wanted to edit this text box here. It says create a unique design. I'm going to click on that. And on the left side, immediately I got a drop down that told me I just clicked on a text object. This was the text that I clicked on. And these are all of the different ways I can edit that text. For a text box, I can also simply double click in the text box to change out and type in new text, okay? So on my left side, when I click on an object, I get a panel that tells me what object type I just clicked on. The other space that lets me know what object type I just clicked on, this is going to be familiar to some of our Adobe Power Industry tool power users, like Photoshop. You've got your layer panel here. It kind of looks like this stack of papers when I consolidate it. And if I hover over it, it tells me those are my layers. That tells me, I click on it, it tells me where every object sits on the page, okay? So I've clicked on this one. If I scroll down, it tells the bounding boxes around the background image right there. And I can also rearrange my layers and move them so that they are in different positions using that layer panel. So right side of my layers, left side is my editing information. Everything in the middle is my object. And then I've got some features and functions up here that apply to the whole page, like changing the background color, like changing the theme, like this awesome feature here that my colleague just used recently. And I was just like, wait a minute, why don't I use that? Called Quick Replace. And the Quick Replace allows you to replace text in the whole project all at one time. It's awesome. And this is something with students. If you show this video to your students, this is a do as I say, not as I do, because I forget to do this all the time. But you should is to put your name on your project. So on the upper left side, there is a space here to add a title to your project. So name your project. The reason it will automatically save, but it will automatically save as untitled dash the date that you start the project and the time that you start the project. And let me tell you, it is a pain when you start going into your files and you want to search for a project and everything's called untitled. So give it a nice unique name in here, and I'm going to put Wezi's dream product. Okay, and now we are ready to go. So I'm going to go to my next slide because this is now where I designed my shoe. So this is a great activity to show you the generative AI experience in here. So in order to get to my generative AI, I'm going to go to the far left panel. The far left panel allows you to import new objects. So every time you're thinking, oh no, I want to add something into my project now, go to that far left side and see what options you have to add content. So there is a button here that says add content, and I'm going to click that on media because I want to add an image. And then there's a gray button here that says generate image. So I'm going to click on that. And for the shape, I'm actually just going to pick a similar shape to the current screen size. So I'm going to select landscape. And then it takes me to the prompt box here. So in the prompt box, I am going to type in a description of the shoe that I want. Now, what's great about this is that I'm designing my shoe, right? I'm in here and I'm typing in my shoe. And so it's what I want my shoe to look like. So it's really great habit when you are going in to type a prompt is to have students think about what they want to say ahead of time, maybe in a separate document, and start practicing a prompt before putting it into the prompt generator. But I wrote one out, and this is how I want to describe my shoe. I put a black and white sneaker. I'm going to put running shoe. I'm going to change sneaker now and be more specific. I'm going to put running shoe with a rising wave that represents stepping into a creative calling. So I'm being very more colorful with my language here. AI does want, if you have a very specific image, type that out. So I know the kind of general theme that I want, and I'm just kind of looking to AI for some ideas as well. So I kept that in there. I am going to leave for the content type, I'm going to put auto. So it can give me a realistic shoe. It can give me an art drawing of a shoe if I want. I can decide how I want that shoe to look. And then I can also pick some styles here. I'm going to leave it and I'm going to select generate, and I'm just going to see what comes up. And then I can go from there, right? This is my first iteration of my shoe design. So let's see what comes up. And it's going to spin for a few seconds, and then it's always going to give me 4 options at a time. Oh, I kind of like it. Oh, and it also put it onto like an ocean floor because of the waves. That's pretty cool. So I'm expanding that so that you all can see the image a little clearer. This is one where you kind of see more of like a whole shoe design. I do kind of like that. I like the simplicity of this shoe. I think I might go with that one, but let me select generate more to see what other options there are. So it gave me a background, even though I didn't ask for a background, it also gave me a background. And now it's generating some other examples. That one's pretty neat. I kind of like this. Okay, so I'm actually going to keep that, and I'm going to remove the background because I just want the shoe. As much as I love the waves for the full effect, I'm going to save that for when I'm actually making my ad. So remember, anything you want to edit, you click on it, right? So I just clicked on this gray space just to prove a point because we want to click on what we want to edit. So I'm clicking back on my shoe. You see that edit image panel dropped? It told me this is the object I've just clicked on. I'm going to select remove background. So now I'm taking the background away from my shoe just so it's the shoe design. Love it. Oh, I actually really do like this. Okay, let me make it nice and large. and it says my generative AI image prompt. How do I get back to my Gen AI image prompt? Well, I need to click on my image. And you see there are two features here that are highlighted where you can see the white circle inside and the black bounding box. That means these are the two features that have been activated for this image. So remove background is active, generate image is active. I'm going to click generate image, and that's going to take me back to my prompt. So I'm going to copy and paste my prompt now. And I'm going to add a new text. Remember, I want to add an object. So I'm going to go to text, and I'm adding text, and I'm pasting my text. Okay, so I just added new text. Now I have this bounding box around my text. It's way too big, right? So I'm just going to hover over the corners and drag it down. And now I'm going to move this box over here. Lots of features that we're playing with right now. Now, if you're like me, this crooked line angle, that's not going to do. We don't want that. So I'm clicking on this text box because I want to adjust it. And you see this curly arrow? I'm going to use that curly arrow to tilt my text so that it's in line with the sticky note paper. There we go. And then those pink lines kind of help me with my placement. There it is. So I just added text. I went to the far left side. I clicked text because remember, far left is where we import new objects. And then I just selected add your text, and I pasted what was in my generative AI prompt right there. Now I have finished step one of my designing my dream product. I have just put what I had in here. Okay, you see my big wave. I wanted a black and white running shoe. If you are more particular and you're just like, I want a low top sneaker, I want it to have the air pump. I might be dating myself here. Remember the shoes where you would have the little air pump and you would squeeze it? I used to have that. I had it one time. It was a hand-me-down. And you go to the basketball court and be like, hold on, I got to pump air in my shoe. So you might want to describe the exact shoe that you want. Maybe you want high top sneakers that look, that are similar to this style. I want orange laces. I want a big chunky tongue in my shoe. Like, be as particular as you want, depending on what's in your mind, what's on your mind. I knew I just wanted kind of like this soft running shoe with some kind of representation of elevation. So that's what I got. My design wasn't all the way that I was going to play with different iterations. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my next step. And it says add a reference image. So I'm going to show you this step because sometimes you do have something in mind and you want to be very particular about what you have in mind. So I'm actually now going to copy my shoe. So I've clicked on it. I'm clicking on these three dots here, or I right click and I'm going to select copy. And I'm going to paste my shoe on page 3 here, because I'm actually going to generate a new image and a new option. So I'm going to select the generate image, and I'm going to add a reference image just so that you all can see how reference images work. So there is a particular shoe that I really like that I have. So I'm going to add that shoe right here. Okay. So I have just added a reference image. This is a shoe that I own. And I really like its style because it has this kind of chrome look, and it's got these like fluid designs. It's not straight lines, and it also has a lot of cushion that supports the arches of the foot. So I really like this design. So I can add it as a style reference, or I can add it as a composition reference. The difference is, if I add it as a style, it's going to look at the aesthetics and try to apply the aesthetics to the image that I have. If I add it as a composition, it's going to look more at the structure. Okay, so like this, it's going to look more, it mimic more of the structure versus the style. So I kind of like, actually, you know what? I'm going to keep this as the style, and I'm going to hit generate, and let's see what happens. So that's how the reference images work. If you've got a particular look, aesthetic that you're trying to appeal to, you can add an image of that. If you have a particular structure that you're trying to appeal to, you can add that under composition. Look at that. So it really did take the style, right? Like especially this one, but it's kind of stuck on that giant wave, and it took that giant wave a little too literally in some of these designs. But this one looks pretty cool. I think I could work with that. So I'm actually I did generate some more just to see. Ooh, kind of like this. I like the simplicity of this. Now notice it kind of cropped my shape a bit. So I'm going to click this crop button because I want to uncrop that. So I'm going to click crop and I'm going to select original, and that's going to give me the whole frame. The remove background is active here, but I want to erase the wave. So I'm clicking on erase, and I'm going to select, maybe quick select will do the trick. There we go. I don't need the wave. I just want my shoe. There we go. That will do. And then let me switch to circle brush here just to take off a little bit more. There we go. I'm a little bit of a purist here with my shoe. All right. Let me grab this one little piece. Okay, so I'm going to select done. Now, did you see that? Now 3 features have been activated here. I removed the background. That was activated. I erased more of the background. That was activated. And this is an AI image, so that's been activated. So here's one iteration, and here it is with my reference image in mind. My reference image had more white than the black and the chrome, so it really pulled from that aesthetic. So I'm going to also drop the reference image here just so that we are following the directions on the page and that we are showing all of the steps of this project. So I just went to upload. I'm going to show you how I did that again. I clicked upload and I clicked on my reference image. And now I'm going to move my reference image into the box where the arrow is pointing. I can use my curly arrow to straighten it out here. And maybe I should remove background, huh? Let's remove the background so we don't have that white background. And we can just put it right there. I can even delete this reference image piece and just cover it with there's my reference image. There we go. How are we doing? We're doing okay. I'm loving this design. This is actually a really fun project, you all. Thank you for all the yeses that you gave me in the chat, but also it's easy to get in the weeds. Here, I'm going to give you this is my soapbox and I will forever hold to it. Okay. It is so important when you yourselves and your students, when you are learning a tool for the very first time, give yourself a project that's going to allow you to tap into existing sources of knowledge. What I mean by that is you don't want to pair your first time focused on learning a new tool, which is one of the skills that you're focusing on, with also trying to complete a brand new assignment for a grade. That's a lot of pressure. And that is 2 really cognitively demanding tasks at one time. Give yourself the room to play and practice. And when I say tap into existing sources of knowledge, I didn't have to go outside of what I already know in order to create this, right? I wasn't given an assignment that required a grade. So allow yourself play and practice. So this also gives students the opportunity to just practice sharing their voice and who they are. So we did the insert and the remove here. So I'm actually just going to copy and paste right in here because we actually used the erase feature. Oh, let me click undo. There's an undo button right at the top here. Now I'm actually going to skip a little bit. Let's copy that and we're going to paste it. And I'm going to skip to this step, create an advertisement, because this is where your student's voice can really shine. So I'm going to paste my shoe here as well. And now we want to create a whole ad around this shoe. So I want to add a background image. So I'm actually going to generate a new image and add it as the background. So I'm going to go to add content. I'm going to go to media. Add content and media. And give me just a second here. Okay. Add content, media, and generate image, because I'm creating an ad. But I know that in my advertisement, I'm going to click landscape, that I actually really liked like the beach theme and the stepping on there. So I'm going to put, let's see, a picture of the ocean meeting the sand and with footprints. A picture of the ocean. I'm going to put a picture of the ocean with footprints in the sand and a large wave in the background. Okay. I want it to be a realistic image, so I'm going to select photo and generate. Now I realized something. I put footprints and I didn't put shoe prints, so maybe I want a shoe print in the sand, but we'll see what it comes up with. Yeah, it gave me toes. I don't want to see toes, so I'm going to change footprints to shoe prints. Running shoe prints. Generate that. And let's see what comes up. All right, they gave me like some big chunky prints, so that's not going to work for me. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to go back to my original image here. Okay, and I'm going to copy this again. And now watch this trick. I'm going to undo the remove background because I remember that it did give me a wave. So I'm actually going to keep that wave in there for my ad. It's like a very subtle wave in there. And now I'm going to add, or even this one was pretty cool, huh, with the waves. Undo that remove. There we go. And this is going to be my ad space. Now, remember, this is only your first draft, so you can keep playing around with the backgrounds that you want. And I'm going to go to text, and I want to add text that's like, I don't know, I want it to look really professional, like with what the shoe design says. So I can add a logo if I want to work on a logo, but I'm actually going to select these signs and labels and see what's on here for signs and labels. Okay. And I kind of like how this looks, but I'm just going to change the colors for it. Let's change this to white. So I'm highlighting the text and I'm going to the left side to edit. And I'm going to say step into a new, I'm using your words from the chat, a new purpose. Step into a new purpose. Okay. And then it has these like really cool bubbles here. I don't need all of them. Just some for design, just for like aesthetic purposes. So I'm just going to put that here, and then I'm just going to click and delete the rest. I don't really need the rest of them. And I'm going to change these colors to colors that are more aligned with, you know, like ocean colors and the theme that I want. Step into a new purpose. That's my ad. That's draft number 1. It's easy to get wrapped up and caught up in, you know, like all of the different details. But remember, when you are designing, you design in drafts. This is the first draft. And what the beauty of it for students is that they can click on these 3 dots, they can select duplicate, and then they can add to their design or apply a new skill that they've learned. So maybe the new skill that they've learned is being able to swap out a background. So it's really important for them to see their growth and learning over time. And they can do that within a project just by clicking these three dots and being duplicate. The first one is not perfect. It's never going to be perfect, but you're just showing how you're developing your skill sets over time. Now, we are making an advertisement. So this second one, I'm actually going to add a check here. So I'm duplicating my check, and I'm going to move this check over to the next part. But I can use this little checklist here. But this is where amplifying student voice is really, really handy. Students can actually add their voice. So I know we've only got like 2 minutes left. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So that go to add content, we're going to go to media, and we're going to go to videos. And I want students to choose a medium for recording their voices. They can use a character, or they can record themselves. The record yourself button is super easy. It's right here. They can just hit start recording. But I also know that a lot of students don't like having their own face on their projects. They can use a character, which is really fun. So I'm going to find a character that matches my theme here in the ocean. Or I'm just going to pick a character that I really like, because I do have a go-to character that I really like. But this isn't part of the ad. This is more so to explain their thinking to their teacher. Actually, you know what? The Earth actually works pretty well. So I click enhance speech. I'm going to hit record. Hi, my name is Wezi, and I want to talk to you about my dream product and how I created this design. And then I hit done, and it is now adding my voice to this earth. I have background there. I can remove the background if I want to. I could have just selected transparent background as well. I'm going to show you the remove background feature as well. But what it's doing is it's just added my voice to this character, the enhanced speech button that filtered out background noise if there's background noise and your students use it. Super fun way for students to explain their thinking with their actual voice, and to have them do that. So it added my character here, and I'm just going to shrink the character down. There we go. Oh, there we go. Okay, let me remove the background. And when I play it back, there it is. Okay, it's still kind of rendering, which is fine, but you all get the point here. Okay, I'm gonna reduce this size. There we go. And I can put this, students can do this with any project. Okay, so I took the background's gone now, and watch this. So your students can add their voice to any project in this way. They can also customize a little badge for themselves at the end, and there's more to explore. But they can also click audio and just record a voiceover and narrate the work that they're doing, which is a really perfect way to amplify their voice. So we want our students to be creative, to express creatively, but to add their voice and their thinking to these projects. And that's exactly a way that they can do that and make their thinking visible. Okay, let's close out here. So I want you to think of some strategies that you can use. Go through and explore those guided activities, and definitely take a look at the AI resources we have, and everything that we have for you to explore is here at edu.adobe.com. We'd also love to welcome you into our Adobe Creative Educator Leadership community, where you can grow in your creativity and knowledge with other like-minded, passionate educators. Great opportunity for networking. So if you feel like, hey, I want to learn more, I want to connect with others, definitely join our community at edu.adobe.com. And thank you so much for being with me this morning, afternoon, or evening. Padma, thank you.
Thank you so much, Wezi. That was an inspiring and really energizing session. I love the way you showed how we can actually use Adobe Express creatively and bring our imagination to life. I'm sure our educators are walking away into the classrooms. A big thank you for Adobe Education team as well for partnering with Future World Alliance on this journey. This is collaboration. And to everyone who have joined us live, thank you so much for spending your time with us, your creativity in practice. And we'll have a lot more to come.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye. Thank you so much, Padma.